Yo, what up, and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel. And we're doing something different tonight or right now. Usually, in the anticipation of Netflix series Sex Education new season, I would give you my review ahead of time, usually whenever the review embargo lifts. But for this final season, aka season 4, Netflix sets the embargo date and time the same night as the premiere of season 4. So, there's no need to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around the spoilers anymore, because by the time you're watching this video, season 4 is already available on Netflix, all of the episodes. Um for you to enjoy, of course. So I figured, you know what? Instead of giving a non-spoiler review, I want to give you my spoiler-filled review of season 4 Sex Education, aka final season. Again, as always, this is meant mostly for those of you, my fellow sex education fans, who already know what's up. Um, so yeah, I have bullet points here, all the spoilers. We're gonna discuss it one by one. But right off the bat, if you ask me, Rama, what's your overall take on season 4? I've already watched all eight episodes of this final season. Um, and is this the best season out of the entire 4 seasons, out of the entire show? I would argue that my favorite season was season 2. Do you remember that? That's the season where Otis's mom found out that Otis was doing, or secretly doing, sex therapy in the school. That's also the same season where Otis was caught, also by his mom, masturbating in the car. Season 2 was the best one, in my opinion. And then season 1 probably follows after that. And I would have to say season 4 and then season 3. So that's my ranking. Season 2 is the best. Season 1 comes second. And then season 4 and then season 3 last. But having said that, I love all of Sex Education, the show. This is a fantastic show, and my overall thought on season 4 is that it is a proper goodbye for these characters. It's sad that we have to say goodbye to them, but I think the timing is right. I think the timing is right. I think I've mentioned to you, or either I tweeted this, that many of these actors, they have reached like stardom and fame because of this show. Remember, prior to this show, the only ones famous were Gillian Anderson, of course, legend from the X Files, um, and Asa Butterfield, or Asa Butterfield. I sorry if I mispronounced, but let's just call him Asa. Asa Butterfield. Coming in, I think he was the only millionaire. He had a lot of movies under his belt. Everybody else were unknown. But now you saw a Barbie movie this past summer, and Shuti Gatwa was on it. Emma Mackey was on it, and then the guy who plays Adam Gruff was on it as well. And they're all busy now. They're all famous now. Not just Asa and Jillian who are famous. Everybody else. So Mimi Keen, who plays Ruby, is is very popular. She's very popular on Instagram. I follow her. I'm a big fan of hers. So yeah, I get it. And everybody else already. Not everybody. Everybody. Yeah, everybody on this show. Uh, the characters on Moordale High School, they have grown up. Like, I mean, of course, they're in their 20s, the actors playing high schoolers, but now they're huge. They're big. You can't believe them as high schoolers anymore. That's why season 4 is set in college. It makes sense. And So yeah, the timing is just right, and we don't want this show to go on forever to the point where the quality of the storytelling diminish over time. That's usually what happens when a show goes on to like 9 or 10 seasons, and then it's like, oh my god, it's not as good as it used to be. Then we all start complaining. So 4 seasons are good. Four is the right number. And yeah, so this is a proper goodbye. A lot of sad moments. Uh, some of the subplots or the side storylines are not as quite as developed as the others, you know, um, but it doesn't really bother me at all on the bigger scale or bigger picture. Um, it's still funny. It's still heartfelt, a lot of heart in it, and you know what? I love that this is set. The story in season 4 is set in a progressive college. I think it's called Cavendish, and because this show has always been about trying to push your comfort level, you as the audience, to get to know people of other sexuality in the sexual, because sexuality is a spectrum, right? What I mean to say is that, like, there's not just non-binary, but there's also these other uh, sexual orientations that you may not have seen or come in contact or encounter in real life. That's where this show comes in and presents those characters. And even in the previous seasons, when a lot of the characters discuss or talk about their sexual problems to Otis and stuff like that, and like, wow. At least for me, I'm like, wow, I never heard of that topic before. Wow, I've never seen that character presented on the screen before. And that's interesting. Wow. So this show has been about challenging and compelling you to be more open-minded, to be more accepting of people who are different from you. And the progressive college that is Cavendish allows for the writers and Laurie Nunn, the showrunner, the opportunity to even double down on that. There's even more characters from new spectrum of the sexual orientations that you get to see on season 4. People like Aisha and Roman and Abby. Um, so yeah, I think that's what I like about season 4. That just when you thought that the show has already rattled your comfort cage before in the previous seasons, bam, they're doing it again, and they're doubling down, and they're really, you know, this is a show for the open-minded, and this is a show for those who are willing to be open-minded. They're just not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So this show kind of helps you there to get there. And season 4 does a lot of that. The plot regarding Adam and his dad, man, it's that plot is really fleshed out in season 4. That one got me teary-eyed several times. It's really, really heartwarming, and it just hit you in the gut, like. And the many times that Adam's dad he tries and tries to be a better man. I mean, oh my god, what? And kudos to the actor who plays Adam's dad, man. The guy goes from, like, the character goes from tyrant to somebody who's like struggles to be good, but and you're cheering for him. He keeps stumbling along the way, and Adam is just like this good-hearted guy, just that is without purpose. He's just looking for a purpose. We've all been there. Adam is I can relate to Adam because I was kind of like Adam too when I was younger, and still am. Like in the fact that, or in terms that everybody else seems to have it figured out. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. And all the while, I'm like, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know, and it's okay to say I don't know. And I love the arc that Adam has on this season four. So yeah, season four was fantastic. Season four was funny, and season four did everything and so much more in terms of generating empathy in you, in the audience, and hopefully it works. So let's get to the the spoilers, the details here, the bullet points, if you will. So okay, I know you want to get to this. Like Rama, what did you think about the ending? Okay, um, the ending, as you may have already seen, if you already watched season four by now, Maeve broke up with Otis. You know, mutually, they decided to break up because Maeve chose to return to America to continue her study. So let's start with that. Let's start with the biggest one, right? That's the biggest spoiler. And at the end, you saw a shot of like the camera going up from Otis, into the distance as the credits roll. It was nice. It was nice. I thought that was a very wise decision. I know a lot of you are like, no, we want Otis and Maeve to have their happy romantic ending. Why? Why do they need to break up? But guys, this show has always been about empowerment, right? Not just girl power, but the empowerment of any sexual orientation, any relationship, any individuality. And if Maeve were to like, oh, I'm gonna go back to Moordale because because Otis is there. I guess this'll do. I'll just find something here, and I'm just not good enough to be a writer. Like because my professor kind of shoots me down. It's like, then how is that empowering? How would that be empowering if she chose to stay instead of returning to US? So I think it's the right ending for Maeve. You may not like it, and that's fine, you know. And you know what? Even if that's not the ending that you like, even if that's not the ending that you wanted, we will always have season three, right? When they were kissing for the first time, when they opened up their feelings for each other for the first time, we'll always have that. Just like Casablanca, we'll always have Paris, right? They part ways and like, that's okay. We'll always have this. I think that's the right way to approach it. Like, and this is it's good. It's mutual. Like, and Otis knows. He learns it the hard way at first, and then he realizes at the end, this is for good. This is good for Maeve, and that's growth, man. That's growth. That shows maturity in mind. Um, that means they're growing up, and that's awesome. So I am okay with that ending, with Maeve, and Otis not being together, and because Maeve going back to school in America. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Um, yeah, the romantic lovey-dovey ending would have been nice, but that would have been too Hollywood. I think this ending of Maeve and Otis not being together perfectly fits the entire theme of the show, in my opinion. Um, okay, let's discuss the competition between O, who is the new sex therapist in town or in Cavendish College, and Otis. I love that whole storyline. By the way, they're competing for each other. They're doing campaign videos, and they had that election at the end, and it was just entertaining. It's. I mean, what I notice is that the writing quality is awesome because it doesn't the writers did not paint either Otis or O as somebody who is incompetent at giving therapy. They're both good at it. They're both good at therapizing, if that's even a word. They both have their shortcomings, of course. So, and you see that on season 4, but they're both good at giving solid advice. um I would have liked it if they had team up at the end, and I think O suggested it, although Otis decided, I need to take a break probably from all this. But yeah, they're good, and the girl who plays O, she's so spunky, full of zest, and so spirited in her rivalry with O. By the way, another bullet point spoiler: the girl who plays, the O, the character O, turns out to be, she used to be a bully. She used to bully Ruby, and you get to see all that as well. What are my thoughts about that? I think that's a pretty interesting arc for Ruby. Um, it's unfortunate that it had to be, like, most of them is done in flashbacks. Ruby is one of my favorite characters, and her arc in season 4 is mostly about that. So she becomes a campaign manager for Otis to get back at O. So that's pretty much her thing. Um, it's very paper thin, but I also like that there's an undertone to it, about her maybe not still getting over Otis. I like that. I like that they play with that, and Ruby is a tough shell, man. Like, she puts on, on the outside, she puts on like a, I'm badass, I'm emotionless, I can take anything, I can handle. But on the inside, man, she can get emotionally hurt, and you feel for her. And Mimi Keen, oh my god, she is gorgeous. Can I just say that? I'm gonna say the most radical thing here, and those of you are gonna be angry at me probably, but I think Mimi Keen is way hotter than Emma Mackey. All right, there, I said it. I think Ruby is sexier than Maeve. There, I said it. I think Ruby is a much prettier woman than Maeve. But that's my opinion. All right, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty is subjective. Um, so yeah, that whole storyline really hits you right here. I just wish that Mimi Keen. I just wish they give her more to show up more. Like whenever her storyline comes in, it has to do with, mostly, so it's mostly the flashback. So you see Ruby as a younger kid, and so I'm hoping that, Mimi Keen, beyond this show, maybe she'll get another show on Netflix of her own where she's the leading star. That would be fantastic. But yeah, I just wanted more of Ruby on this season 4. It was great. It was good, but not enough. Not enough Ruby. So that's my overall conclusion. Um, let's talk about Erin's death. Erin is the mother of Maeve. She passes away on this season 4. Um, that whole funeral or eulogy scene is so, it takes me back to that HBO show 6 Feet Under. I'm like, oh my god, that's 6 feet under. It's just, minus the embalming process or whatnot in the basement. And that was a very heartfelt speech as well, by Maeve. And that's, remember I said that some of the subplots are kind of underdeveloped. Bam, the one with her brother, Maeve's brother, that was a bit underdeveloped. It's presented, and Maeve's brother had that speech at the funeral as well that shows that he is very troubled. He needs help. But then it kind of dropped off from the radar. Basically, we the story doesn't come around to it anymore, or not. The substance kind of stopped right there, and it did not continue. Um, so that's one of the examples, okay, that I could bring you about underdeveloped arc. Um, it would have been nicer if that had its own resolve. Um, Unfortunately, it did not come to that. Maybe those of you, or maybe some of you are okay with that. Maybe some of you don't think that Maeve's brother is all that. Maybe he's not your favorite character. Maybe you don't really care what happens to him. And that's fine. That's your opinion. But I wish that they had dug deeper, or at least give that a better closure, if you will, in terms of her brother. Let's see what else. Oh, let's talk about Amy and Isaac. So Amy and Isaac developed a friendship and then develop a romantic feelings towards each other, uh, over the fact that they connect through painting, through art. And I think this is a very lovely, exquisite arc for them. Uh, that whole there's a tiny bit where Maeve is like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this," but then in the end, Maeve is okay with it. Um, I like that the whole, how Amy got sexually assaulted in the previous season. I admire the fact that the writers did not just drop it there and then just move on. No, the after effect or the aftermath still lingers on season 4, and that's good. That's good because that and they play that into Amy and Isaac's relationship. Because Amy's like, oh, I'm not comfortable. I'm still traumatized, and that's good. Because trauma is not something that you could just get over with overnight. And so the way that kind of eased into the relationship of Amy and Isaac, I thought that was clever. I thought that was a wise choice, and I thought it was very well handled. Um, very respectful, very sensitive to the topic of, you know, sexual assault in general. So, and Isaac, man, he's an interesting character. And again, to my point earlier about how this show kind of presents characters that are on 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 various points of the sexuality as a spectrum thing. Um, on season 4, they also kind of like emphasize on the disability. There's an episode where the whole thing about the elevator being not being fixed yet, and everybody kind of like protests against it and like demands that the elevator be fixed. That's great. That's fantastic, right? It's kind of reminiscent of previous season where everybody got together in that auditorium and did the whole sex education video. Remember that? And they did the whole song and dance and number. It's a reminiscent of that. I think every season has a moment where everybody come together for an issue, and this season 4, that issue happens to be um, disability. And so yeah, man, just it's so cool how the writers would put a spotlight on characters like Isaac, Characters that on other shows probably get pushed into the back seat, on other shows, and they never get their limelight. But Sex Education does it, man, fantastically, if I may. I know, I'm getting to, I'm getting to Shuti Gatwa. Okay, I'm getting to Shuti Gatwa. So Eric, if I may. But let's talk a bit about Jackson before I get to Shuti Gatwa or Eric. So Jackson's storyline involves him trying to find his biological dad, and it's a reasonable storyline for him. And it started out with him like kind of like having that cancer scare, right? Like, oh, there's a lump in my testicles. Am I turning into like Lance Armstrong or whatnot? And that kind of detours into him trying to find his dad, his biological dad, because because some of the disease out there are hereditary, right? Um, Passed down from generation to generation. So it makes sense. It's a very sensible, very reasonable storyline for Jackson. Um, and I think the guy who plays Jackson did very well in this arc. In the previous seasons, he was a jock. He was very cocky at some point, but in this one, he was like uncertain, like maybe like or frustrated and bothered that Jackson's like, why are my parents hiding this from me? Why can't they just tell me the truth? So it's a very, very sensible arc for him. And you know what? I love that this arc provides an opening for Hannah Waddingham, the actress Hannah Waddingham, to come back as one of Jackson's parents. Because remember, Jackson's parents are lesbians. Um, Hannah, as you know, is an Emmy winner. She won Emmy for Ted Lasso, and you're probably wondering like, she's already big now. She's already a huge star. Why does she need to, come back to do a couple of episodes? They could have just like written her character out, or maybe she's somewhere, in town, another city or something. But so that speaks very highly of Hannah Waddingham, the fact that she is willing to come back to even just do a couple of episodes, recurring roles. Um, it speaks about her as a person, definitely. Okay, it reminds me of how Olivia Colman, the Oscar winner Olivia Colman, shows up on that show Heartstopper. Remember that? For like a couple of episodes here and there. I was like, why? What? You're an Oscar winner. You're doing movies, man. You're rubbing shoulders with other Oscar winners. Like, but folks like Olivia and Hannah, they truly believe in stories like this. In Heartstopper and Sex Education, and you can tell that they love being there as part of the story, as part of this, Hannah specifically, as part of this conclusion, final season. But back to Jackson, man. I think it's pretty cool story arc, um, and it's one that makes you empathize with him more. In previous seasons, there were times when it was hard for me to empathize with Jackson because, Jackson was with, originally with Maeve, right? And there's the whole love triangle thing with Maeve, Otis, and Jackson, and then love triangle evolves into Maeve, Otis, and Isaac. So Jackson was never a bad guy. He was not an antagonist. He was not a villain. But at the same time, it was like he was this guy that was standing in between Otis and Maeve. That's how I saw him in the past. So here in season 4, this arc about him finding his father portrays him as somebody who is not a victim. He's not a victim, but he's somebody who is more relatable than ever before. You know, um, because of his, he found out his biological dad didn't want him or didn't want to have anything to do with him, and the lesson was like, who cares? Who cares Who cares who's your sperm donor is, right? Don't look at that. Look at what you have in front of you. Look at what you have. Look at the blessings around you. You're surrounded by people who love you. So that's the lesson of Jackson's story arc that I think is gonna, is gonna hit home with a lot of audiences. It's gonna resonate with a lot of people, whether or not you grew up with parents or not. Um, so yeah, Eric. Okay. Oh, Shutigatwa. The arc is pretty interesting in the season 4 because there's this whole thing with how Eric and Otis are not on the same wavelength at times in season 4, and that kind of bothers Eric. And because Otis is like so focused on like trying to win this competition that he has with this other sex therapist and Eric feels like, hey, you're not listening to me. And then Eric's hanging out with Abby and Aisha and Roman. So there's that as well. And it's funny how in this progressive college, all right, Cavendish school, uh, those guys are the popular ones. In the regular school, in the regular college, people like Aisha, Abby, and Roman are the misfits. Others, they're the different people. Like, ooh. But in this college, they're the cool ones. They're the popular ones. And it's awesome. And the moments in which Eric hangs out with Abby and Roman and Aisha, they're like moments of fun and vibrancy and cool soundtracks, right? Like in the previous seasons, there's the awesome soundtracks. Whenever Eric is just flashing here his latest outfit or whatnot, and it's awesome stuff. I have fun with those moments in season 4 of Eric hanging out with Aisha, Abby, and Roman. Um, and then it leads to this arc about Eric getting visions from God. And it's awesome because God is played by actress Jodie Turner-Smith, whom I love and adore. You may recognize Jodie from a lot of movies and shows. Um, and it's so cool how he's like slowly but surely getting that calling, that divine calling. What do I think about all that? I think I don't think that arc is trying to shit on religion. If anything, that arc is because at the end, Eric is like, I want to be a pastor. I think that arc is meant to or designed to tell you, hey guys, religion doesn't have to be uh, anti this or anti that. It doesn't have to be about hating others. It could take a person like Eric to reform religion, you know. And at the end, that's probably the reason for that arc. And I love how Eric is like, I love who I am. I'm gay, but I also love my community. Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose either or. Like there's got to be a way to do this, where you know I can be myself and also be in my community. I don't have to be separate from my community, and that's awesome. That's because in the real world, unfortunately, right now, with many religions, people like Eric get kicked out of their community or their religion. Like, we don't want you here, and so that's the lesson that arc is giving us, and I think it's very profound, and very deep, very eye-opening, enlightening, if you will. And Shuti Gadwa has that moment at the baptism where that Shuti's acting is just right, really just it just floors you, man. It just floors you. That emotion just like just jaw drops you, man. Holy crap! Like, it's unfortunate that Emmy Awards overlooks shows like Sex Education. Otherwise, Shuti Gatwa would have easily been nominated multiple times throughout these 4 seasons. And if there's any justice with the Emmy Awards for next year, they would remember that moment at the baptism and nominate Shuti Gadwa for that performance, for that scene, for that episode. Unfortunately, they probably won't. So yeah, it's a great arc, and it plays into the whole, because by the end, Cal went missing. Um, they, remember, we have to call Cal they, and they and the whole Jackson story arc and the whole Eric story arc plays, you know, kind of like a puzzle, like a piece like this meets or intersect with Cal, and it was wonderful. Um, and it goes to what I said, at the risk of sounding like a broken record. Cal, we're like, oh, I don't know if I'm loved. Like, why am I here? Like, I don't feel like I belong. Like, and it goes into the whole, being feeling different or being made to feel different by others. And it also kind of reaches the borderlines of topics like suicide or suicidal thoughts. Dude, I'm telling you, season 4 is fantastic. It's just these pockets of emotions that the writers managed to bring out, or tap into, or present. It's unbelievable, incredible. Despite taking out some of the characters from the equations, like Ola and uh, Lily. Oh my god, I love Lily. I miss Ola. I miss Lily. A lot of characters that I get it. They're not in season 4 because the story kind of has moved on from them. Probably the writers just kind of like, we don't have any ideas for them in season 4. We can't fit them into this whole arc, and I get it. That's fine. So, but um uh despite eliminating some of the characters that were some of fan favorite characters, the writers managed to still grab hold of your fandom. You know what I'm saying? What I'm getting at is like, yeah, we don't have some of these other supporting characters that we used to enjoy, but it doesn't lessen or it doesn't minimize the quality of the show just because they're not around. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, season 4, fantastic, terrific, terrific. Um, what else? What else? Have we discussed everything? We've discussed Adam and his dad, right? Oh, so good, so good. The whole horse thing, the whole car driving lesson thing. Oh man, you're gonna have a blast watching season 4. Um, I let me bring it back to Maeve and Otis. The thing is, I can't wait to see Emma thrive in cinema, in movie career beyond this show. And Asa Butterfield, who was already a movie star before this show came on, I'm guessing he's gonna come back and do the same thing again. So I'm looking forward to many more movies from Asa Butterfield as well. Shuti Gadwa, of course, as you know, is now the new Doctor Who. So, oh my God, hearing the successes of many of these actors, you feel happy for them. Yes, it's sad that sex education has ended. It's sad. It's sad. I'm not taking that away from you. Um, but again, this is a proper goodbye. At least Netflix gave Laurie Nunn and her team of writers a chance to give this show a proper ending. You know how Netflix cancels so many shows, leaves them with cliffhangers and stuff like that, and leaves a lot of fans pissed off. I think Julie and the Phantoms got canceled, I believe, and so many others that Netflix did not bring back. Like, oh, it's infuriating. So, man, at least we got a closure, right? So that's awesome, right? So at least we have this. It may not be what you wanted. You probably wish for Otis and Maeve to be together, and I get it. I get it. It hurts. But at least there's an ending. There's we could say like, oh, it's a whole show. It's a full show. It's not. It doesn't leave you hanging. You know what I'm saying? Um, or it doesn't leave itself hanging. Oh, I forgot to talk about Jean. Oh my god, Jean and her sister. The sister come to town. The actress who plays the sister's Joanna. That whole arc with Jean and Joanna. I think I was. How do I feel about that? It's nice. Um, it goes to show that it brings up a lot of old pains, if you will, from them as sisters growing up, but also pains, old pains, as in like how Jean was when her husband left her back when Otis was a kid. So that arc, that siblingship arc, provides uh, a moment or an opportunity for Jean to kind of have a self-realization moment, because remember, Jean is a therapist too, and even therapists even therapists have their own problems, right? Even therapists needs to go to therapy. Therapists need to go to therapy as well. And so this whole arc is sort of like a therapy or therapeutical or cathartic process for Jean. The fact that she's overwhelmed by motherhood again, even though she's already a mother, and then the whole thing with reconnecting with her sister who was abused when she was a child, to confront that reality, to confront that past. It's such a hard hitting arc, like just really, like, let's deal with this, let's face this head on, sort of a deal. That's what that arc invites the audiences to do, and hopefully that's what the audiences or you will get out of it, will take away from it. So yeah, fantastic arc. That's the last one on my bullet point. Again, season 4 is great. Season 4 or final this final season is wonderful and heartfelt. When the trailer says get your tissues ready because you're gonna be crying, I'm telling you, they're not lying, they're not kidding you. If you have taken a journey with these characters over the past 4 seasons, like I have, you've immersed yourself in their, you've invested yourself in these characters. Yes, you will shed some tears. I shed tears for Ruby, like, oh, Mimikin, please, I'm single, let's go out. Hit me on Instagram, Mimikin. But yeah, in all seriousness, you will shed some tears here and there, but in a good way. It's a good cry. We all need a good cry every now and then, a healthy cry, along with the laughs, along with the with the crack up, especially in the early episodes of season 4 when they show uh, Otis's penis on the big screen. Oh my god. So yeah, you will laugh, you will cry, you will go, "Oh," and you will like, "Why?" And you will go, "Oh, that's sweet. That's nice. Oh, my heart is full now." That's what season 4 does for you. That's what season 4 does to us. All the spectrum of emotions that you're going to feel satisfied of experiencing by the end of the show. So that's it. Yeah, that's my spoiler full review of Sex Education final season. Uh, Let me know your thoughts. Okay, again, this video is mainly for those of you, my fellow sex education fans, who already know what's up, and for those of you who've already watched season 4. For those, this video is for those of you who have already watched this final season, because there's a lot of spoiler alert in this video. Okay, so yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think about this final season? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Elaborate. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Let's rock this. Woo!